in a universe. And we all have the ability to tap into our deepest dreams. You can learn and grow at your own speed, and build a business based on your own needs. Well, I bet you didn't know you could make money from your home and take control of your security. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that you could make it on your own and take good care of your family. Why do we wait until tomorrow when we could do it today? Step out of your comfort zone and take a leap of faith. You can learn and grow at your own speed, and build a business based on your own needs. Well, I bet you didn't know you could make money from your home and take control of your security. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that you could make it on your own and take good care of your family. Bedrock bookkeepers rocket from their home. Bedrock bookkeepers make it on their own. Bedrock bookkeepers live it in the zone. Well, I bet you didn't know you could make money from your home and take control of your security. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that you could make it on your own and take good care of your family. Well, I bet you didn't know you could make money from your home and take control of your security. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that you could make it on your own and take good care of your family.
Hello, jump starters. This is Joe DiChara, CPA extraordinaire, coming to you live from downtown BGC, Metro Manila, for another amazing presentation for you, just for you jump starters that have signed up, that were lucky enough or smart enough to sign up for the soft launch. The soft launch. Don't forget, we will be having our official launch on May 17th. Location to be determined. You're probably going to get an email shortly asking if you're actually going to be able to attend the physical event. We'll also be streaming it live. So thank you. And I apologize for the glitch. My internet actually went down. Hello, Agnes. Thank you for joining. Hello, Janine. I see you in the green room in the back. And so tonight is a topic that I get often. I get it from students. I get it from people in business, and they ask me, how do I price my services? How do I price my services? And this is what I tell them. If nobody is complaining about your price, it's too low. It's too low. You need to raise the price. If you sign up every single prospect, you're not pricing your services high enough. Okay. So it's trial and error. It's really trial and error. I'm going to tell you a story about when I first started in accounting. What happened to my slide? There we go. Okay, so it seems like my computer and the internet have a mind of its own. But when I first started, I actually I was trying to get out of the accounting industry and become an insurance financial planning expert, and I needed to have clients. So my idea, because I already had tax experience, I said I'm just going to price personal income taxes so low that it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. People will, might think it's a scam. But what I did was I put an ad in the newspaper for $35 flat fee, no matter how complicated it was, no matter how much time I had to spend. And I would go to your house and actually pencil out whether you were going to get a refund or have to pay right there on the kitchen table. $35. And I got a lot of clients. And some of them I actually sold insurance to, because that was really the whole purpose, just to get insurance clients. So, I was a terrible salesman. I could get plenty of appointments, but I wasn't great at selling. Especially, my bosses wanted me to sell the expensive life insurance, and I was selling the cheap term life insurance. So anyway, I realized after 6 months this wasn't going to work out for me. So I went back into the accounting industry, and I kept all of those clients. I kept all of those clients at $35 a month, and I did it for that fee for a couple of years until I opened my first office. Now I have overhead. So I'm like, I got to raise people's fees. So I went from $35 to $200. And I thought to myself, well, a lot of these people are going to leave, or they're going to complain. And guess what? Nobody left. And nobody even complained. And I was happy and I was sad at the same time. I was happy that I got the raise. I was happy that nobody left. But I was sad because I said, all those years I've been doing the tax returns for dirt cheap when I could have been getting more money sooner. Okay, so that was a lesson. That was a lesson. So let's go through the slides, and we can go, and I'll take you through some of the strategies. Okay, so one thing that my coach and friend Larry Broughton taught me a long time ago, he said two words that really changed the way I did business. Serve first. Serve first. We're in a service business. Accounting is a service business. So I said to myself, I'm going to take money out of the equation. Because before that, I used to analyze how much time am I spending and how much am I charging the client, and say, if I'm not making at least $250 an hour, I either got to raise the client's fee or get rid of them, because that's what I needed. That's what I wanted to make. All the other accountants were charging $250 an hour. I didn't charge by the hour. I charged a regular monthly retainer fee. So I had to be careful. Okay. So when I went home after I had heard this from Larry, I said, let me take money out of the equation. And I just started, I looked at my clients and I said, what do they really need that I could help them with without even asking them to pay me? Without even asking them to pay me. I'm just going to do it. And guess what? My revenue went up by over 60% that year. And it wasn't a coincidence, because once I started doing that, people started asking me to do other things. And it just worked. And that's how I've been approaching my practice ever since. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to be a martyr. From time to time, I will help somebody out. If they're going through some financial difficulty, I'll give them some kind of, payment plan. I'll say, you can pay me and start paying me again in 3 months. When COVID hit, I did it with a bunch of clients. Okay. I said, we still have to do the accounting, but I could see from your checkbook, you have no revenue. So that's the first lesson. You serve first. Now, what you really need to do is, you don't want to be like everyone else. Everybody's got a different expertise, a different experience. So you have to leverage that competitive advantage. Let's say you're an expert in real estate. Okay. Well, that's different. I can do real estate accounting, but that's not really my specialty. My specialty is working with sole proprietors, brand new businesses. That's who we target. Okay. So if you have a niche that other people don't have, then you need to leverage that. Because if you're an expert, and there's different ways to become an expert, and I'm going to share that with you. If you're an expert, you could get more for your services than somebody like me, who's not an expert. Let's say you're an expert in construction accounting. That's a specialized field. If you get a construction client with long-term contracts, that's very, very specialized. Not everybody can do it. Okay, you got to know about something called the look back method. I used to do this for a firm. I hated it. I hated it. You got to do job costing. You got to do percentage of completion. So that's a highly specialized industry. So if you know how to do that kind of accounting, you're going to get a premium. So that's one way to start pricing your services. You got to leverage your expertise. Another way is to reduce your cost of doing business. And that's what we did at Bedrock. You see, the people that we target usually don't hire accountants because they can't afford them. So I needed to develop a system where I could lower my monthly fee, still make a profit, and let them, hire me instead of, so they either don't file their returns or they do it themselves. And both ways they get into trouble eventually. So my idea, once I discovered this market, I said, there's something wrong with this. You got tens of millions of entrepreneurs that aren't hiring an accountant. And what Larry always said is, if you can't afford to hire an accountant, you shouldn't go into business. Okay, so you gotta figure out what is your competitive advantage. Okay. Now, I said that there's different ways to be seen as an expert. One way I learned was to write a book. Writing a book isn't like it used to be. You had to find a publisher. They would give you an advantage. No, it's not like that anymore. It's very easy to self-publish and put your book up on Amazon. If you go to Amazon and you put my name in, you're going to see a bunch of different books. Some of them I co-authored. Most of them I wrote myself. And actually, we have 3 more books that I wrote that are ready to be published. So, when people, if they Google me, they're going to say, this guy's an expert. One of my books is the itty bitty book all about S corporations, because I wanted to be seen as an expert on S corps. Okay, I also have a book about the secret sauce of how to do business in the United States. And that's geared towards people that want to get into the accounting business. So I have several different markets so that if people are looking for that, they're going to say Joe DiChiara is the go-to person. Okay. Another way is to simply share your knowledge, and you could share your knowledge a lot of ways on social media. You can do a blog. There's multiple ways to get your name out there and be seen as an expert. Once you're seen as an expert, your chances on landing a client go up exponentially. When I wrote my first book, from myths to money, okay, it was all about the perceptions out there about why businesses fail. And most of them, the ideas about why businesses fail, like it's a lack of money, a bad economy. Well, that usually applies to large businesses. I wanted to target the small businesses. And for a small business, it's got a lot more to do with mindset, attitude. Okay. So that's why I wrote From Myths to Money. So when I had a prospect, I used to actually give them a copy of my book. How many accountants go to a meeting and give the prospect a book? So right away, they're like, oh my God. I went to a workshop one time, and they were talking about things that I talk about in my book. So I went up to the gentleman that was running the workshop, and I said, listen, I'm an author, and a lot of the stuff that you believe I have in my book. And so he said, he goes up to the front of the room, and he says, I want to introduce this guy, Joe DiChiara. He's a CPA and he's an author. He wrote this book, and he called me up to talk to the group. Eventually, I wound up going there and doing a presentation. But I sat down in the audience, and the woman said, oh my God, I'm sitting next to somebody famous. So the perception was that I was this author, this famous author. I was flattered, but I knew the truth is that anybody could actually write a book. How do you write a book? You start. You start with an outline, you start with an idea, and then you expand on it. Now, if you're not a writer, you could actually get a ghostwriter. There's a lot of them out there. Okay. In fact, one of our clients is a ghostwriter. Okay. If you want me to connect you with her, just go to Time with Joe. Say in the comments section, I saw your Facebook Live and I want to connect with your ghostwriter client. So, hey, Rainin, JR, I see you all saying hi. If you have any questions, so Rainin, all you got to do is go to Amazon and put my name in the search bar, Joseph DiChiara. Okay, so let's go to the next slide, which is hourly versus flat fees. I've worked for firms that charge by the hour. It's not a fun way to do business unless you have big clients. If you want to be like a law firm, then you got to keep track of every minute that you spend on the client. Now, my experience is unless that's a big client, that creates a problem. That creates a problem because the client's like, every time I call this guy, I'm going to get charged. So they don't want to call you. They don't want you to spend time. That's counterproductive. So all of my clients are on a regular monthly retainer. Now, how do you know how much to charge on a monthly fee? What if you charge a monthly fee and you're getting blasted with time? If you have staff and they're spending more time, so you could actually be in a situation where you have a client and you're losing money. Well, you adjust the fee then. You adjust the fee. We had a client that we started at $57 a month, and he's at $1,500 a month now. And he understood. He's like, you charged me $57. I never thought I was a $57 a month client. So I have no problem with you charging me something fair. I want you to be my accountant. Just don't kill me. Give me something fair. And it turns out, his business is growing rapidly. He's got a very complicated business model. So we spend a lot of time on his account trying to keep it up to date. So, and we also go the other way. And that doesn't happen too often, but if we're charging somebody a high fee, let's say like we have a client right now, it's a high fee. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of problems. And I told him, listen, I have no problem lowering your fee, but you got to cooperate with me. When we ask you for something, you can't make me ask more than once. I don't want to, waste time. So that's hourly versus flat fees. Now, the next slide is what it really comes down to. In the first slide, I said serve first. Accounting is a service business. So if you're not providing excellent service and you don't have a good relationship no matter what your price is, it's not going to matter. If you're providing average service, but you have a great relationship with your client, chances are you're not going to lose that client. But what I recommend is going the extra mile, do more than what you're getting paid for, and keep your relationships. I make it a habit, a routine to meet with all of my clients. We invite them all the time. Book at least on a quarterly basis. Even for the clients, we're only charging $57 a month. And I'll tell you why. We keep that relationship. When we have those meetings, we find out something that we didn't know before. Sometimes it might be extra work. Sometimes it might be a referral. Okay. Most of our new clients, I'd say over 90% of our new clients come from referrals. If we don't have those relationships, we're not getting the referrals. Now, when you get a referral, it's usually a done deal. There's been very few times when I got a referral from a client and I didn't land the prospect. I hope that makes sense to you. Yes, Mariko, and you know how we work. We always over-deliver. We always over-deliver. So last night, I shared this with my accounting team tonight. I had an appointment with a brand new client. Okay. He doesn't have a big business. In fact, I'm looking at his financials and I said, this is as small as they come. He had no revenue, $15,000 in expenses. And I invited him. I said, listen, when we first start out, I like to have a meeting with my clients so that we know more about you and how we could help you. It turns out he's partners with his best friend in another venture, which is an established business. It's growing. They're both young guys. And we're going to get a chance to do that business. So that's another thing. I treat all of our clients equally. I don't care if they're paying us $6,000 a month or $57 a month. So you need to establish that we're in a service business and a relationship business. If you ever lose that relationship, your business is going to go down. This is what happens when accounting firms grow. The owners forget about their clients. Well, our staff on Bedrock, our team members, they've all been taught how to meet with the clients. I see them booking appointments with the clients all the time without me. So it's not only me now, they have relationships with their accounting specialist. If you don't have that relationship, it doesn't matter what your prices are. It doesn't matter what your prices are. The next slide I already talked about is niches. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of niches. There's a big market for e-commerce. Big market, because if you think about it, since COVID in the United States, 4 million people didn't go back to work. They call it the, I forget what they call it. The great, it doesn't matter. 4 million people didn't go back to work. What do you think they did? A lot of them just changed their lifestyle, but a lot of them actually started businesses. And I'll bet you a good percentage of them started online businesses. Now that could become a specialty, and I'll tell you why. Sales tax. Sales tax is extremely, extremely complicated, especially with the new Nexus rules. Nexus is it determines where the business has to be registered, and then you have items that are taxable, not taxable. It depends on the state. So e-commerce is an excellent, excellent niche to get into. Real estate, I mentioned. So real estate is easy to get into. It's really not that complicated. If you know how to record a closing statement, and it's, we have a template for it. Okay. Real estate is a really good niche. We have a friend, Malona. Malona, if you're gonna watch this, hello. I love Milona. I see she posts on LinkedIn all the time about real estate issues. So she's posting out there, and it takes time, but eventually people will see Milona and think about real estate. Or if they get into the real estate business, they're going to think about Milona. That's how it works. Okay. Again, what your price is irrelevant unless you're getting clients. Okay, so there's a lot of niches. Healthcare. There's a lot of people in the healthcare industry. You could specialize in dentist. It doesn't matter. Now, just because you specialize in something doesn't mean you can't do other things. Another specialty is not-for-profits. Okay, when I do my course, I mention we don't do not-for-profits. I have no interest in it because it's a kind of niche that you just can't do one of. You just can't do one of them. It's too complex. There's too many other issues that don't apply to regular businesses. Now, the next slide, and I think I mentioned this briefly, is complexity. If the industry is more complex, like the construction industry, you could charge more. Okay, because like the not-for-profit industry, the construction industry, now I'm talking about the large construction companies, the people that have what they call long-term contracts. Okay, I worked for a firm that's all they did. They did contractors. I mean, we had other clients. We had doctors, we had lawyers, but the bread and butter were the construction clients. That's where they made the most money. And I had to, unfortunately, become the tax expert in the construction industry. I will never do that again. It's it's really intense. It's really intense. But if you do that, you're going to get a premium. The other way, so here's another thing that we do. So a lot of our clients don't pay us a lot of money, and that's fine. That's fine. They're low maintenance, simple. Some of them, all we do is we bill them. They send us their info. It's very simple. Some of them have 5 or 10 transactions a month, but they still need an account. They still need an account for when they get some kind of tax notice. They need us to make sure that they're in compliance. But now we add other services that we can do. We file their annual reports. Something that's pretty simple, but it's overlooked. And again, we don't charge a lot of money, but it doesn't take a lot of our time. Payroll. We started doing payroll. The payroll services out there are terrible. They're terrible and they're expensive. So we developed our own payroll system. We don't use any software. No, we do use software to process the weekly and monthly payroll. Okay. We have software. The IRS batch software allows us to pay all the payroll, the federal payroll taxes electronically. But because we have a system and our costs are low, the software only costs a couple of $100 a year. We can price our payroll services way below what the other payroll companies are charging. The least expensive payroll company I've seen charges $50 a month, even for just one employee with one paycheck. So value-added services add to your bottom line. And that's the end of pricing your services. I hope that I gave you something of value. What I'm going to ask you to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel. Everything that we do goes up on YouTube, and if you subscribe, you get an email that another video has gone up. Okay, so if you like the content that we share, you can easily get access to it. Now, this presentation was actually scheduled for Monday. So every Monday, but we had some technical problems, so that's why we did it tonight. Every Monday, 7 p.m. Philippine time, I will be here doing another presentation. Some of our upcoming events. So I told you about our adding payroll to our services. And so I like to share, what we're doing. We made it into a course. I believe it's a pretty powerful course because it covers everything that you need to know to start your own payroll agency. Also, it gives you, if you want to go and work for a CPA firm, it gives you the knowledge that you need to help them process their payroll. And we always have a new batch coming up. So you can go to our site, Bedrock Business Builders, and click on the upcoming events. If somebody on my team could actually post it in the comments, I would appreciate that. The other big thing, so these presentations are created specifically for our new Jumpstart community. So if you're not actually registered yet in the Jumpstart community, you need to register, because for now, this is our soft launch. And for now, there's no obligation. Everything is free. We have 3 workshops a month with special guests. One week we have Larry Broughton, a world-class entrepreneur, award-winning entrepreneur, former special ops Green Beret, and my coach, my mentor, my friend. We have Marianne Yan Labonte with the Counting Peoples, and we always, my team finds special guests. We had Jonathan Ruiz a couple of weeks ago on time management. We had another workshop on utilizing artificial intelligence, which was very, very helpful. So we always have some kind of event going on. Now, I always invite anybody that's connected with us through a workshop, a student, to book time with me. If there's something I could help you with, if you have a client that you don't know how to handle, if you want to get into the accounting business and don't know how, just book a chat with me, Time with Joe. And that's my story. This is our logo. We're in all the different social medias. So you can always find us. Thank you. God bless and have a good night. Thank you for your time. I hope that I gave you some value and something to think about tonight. Good night. Thank you.